It's March, and that means intensity is picking up, way up. From the ECHL in January to the NHL in February. We continue our chat with a legendary hockey announcer. And yes, it's a developmental league, but maybe this is going a bit too far. That's all right now on ECHL Week. The Reading Royals have been at the top of the Eastern Conference heap for most of the season, but their grasp on first place is tenuous as Cincinnati has been closing in on the Royals for weeks. And when the going gets tough, well, you know. As for the Royals, who were 6-8 in February, who better to rely on than their captain, Yannick Tifu? After being shut out by Orlando, the Royals did an about-face in their rematch with the Solar Bears. But Tifu, who's in his first full season with Reading after making 6 other ECHL stops since 2006, got his team on the board with this play. It marked his 20th goal of the season. Trailing by a goal in the second period, Tifu struck again, this time on a delayed penalty call. That tied the game and set the stage for a monster of a third period by the visitors. After Reading took the lead with a pair of goals in the first 3 minutes of the third period, the 28-year-old center put the hammer down. First a set-up to Stan Galiev on the power play, then his hat-trick goal 3 minutes later, also on the power play. Finally, Tifu picked up another assist on Galiev's second goal of the game to help Reading earn an 8-3 win at Orlando. Tifu's 5-point night tied him with several others for the biggest scoring night of the season in the ECHL. It was his first hat trick in nearly 2 years. He was playing with Elmira at that time. And it left the Royals just 8 points away from clinching a playoff spot. Let's listen to Bob Mills describe some of Tifu's big night on 740 The Game.
Couldn't collect the puck behind the net. Up to Tifu. Tifu will send to the blue line. Fake shot by Matera. Now Galiev in front. Quick redirect. They score. That one off the stick of Nikita Kishirski. Royals power play certainly working here. In fact, not positive on that replay that Kishirski did hit that puck.
I just want to win some games. I mean, I've been in the league for 8 years, and I've been in the Kelly Cup one time. It was my second year, and I'm just looking to go back and win some games. So, I mean, I'm just trying to chip in. It's great to score 4 goals. Maybe tomorrow we'll get another goal, but maybe we'll win the game, and then I'll be still happy. I'm just looking the process is to get better every day, and I think we did that since the first day. And we're getting better.
It also bears mentioning that just as we were putting this show together, Mike Embach of Cincinnati also struck for 5 points in a game. His 4 goals and an assist helped the Cyclones win 9-4 in Evansville. You follow hockey at all, you probably know about the Chicago Blackhawks, who've set a National Hockey League record opening their season by going 22 games in a row without a loss in regulation time. That's 19 wins and 3 overtime defeats. What you might not know is that there's an ECHL presence on the Hawks in the form of a couple of players and a coach. That's right, 1 forward, 1 defenseman, and 1 assistant coach for Chicago all got playing time in the ECHL. First, up front, Daniel Carcillo, who's played in the NHL with both Phoenix and Philadelphia prior to arriving in the Windy City a season ago. He had a brief tour of duty with the Wheeling Nailers during the 2005-06 season, his first year as a pro. On defense, Sheldon Brookbank is a former member of the Mississippi Seawolves of the ECHL, with which he spent most of the 2001-02 season. During his stay in the ECHL, his first pro year, he managed 29 points and was a +14 in 62 games. Finally, assistant coach Jamie Compton is also in his first year with Chicago after spending the last 6 seasons with the current defending Stanley Cup champs in Los Angeles. Compton played his entire pro career in the ECHL. It lasted 2 seasons. He split time among Hampton Roads, Cincinnati, and Winston-Salem in the late 80s and early 90s. The Kelly Cup playoffs are less than a month away. In most years, March means that many teams are gearing up for the postseason with a bit more intensity than earlier in the year. This year seems to be no exception. Take the case of a recent Gwinnett versus Florida matchup. The Gladiators had scored into an empty net to put the game away with about 2 minutes to play. Shortly thereafter, that pre-playoff intensity reared its ugly head. Here's Alex Reed on the Everblades radio network.
Mix it up here at the circle. I think Henley's like, hey, I'm going to get a penalty. Anyway, I'm going to go after someone. Now we got some sticking here, and oh man, Henley caught the goaltender. Henley grabbing the goaltender, O'Neill, and now everyone getting involved in this one as the Everblades are now trying to, I guess, set a tone for tomorrow. And now here comes Nagel down the ice. He's heading down to go get O'Neill, and now the goaltenders grab one another as Nagel trying to get after O'Neill's down on the ice, and everybody's kind of grabbing a dance partner right now. Boy, talk about a tone setter. Henley knew he was getting a penalty. He said, forget this. I'm tired of these small penalties for little things that I do. I'm going to make it worth my while. He went right after a Gwinnett player, and that started the entire scrum. And now Nagel and O'Neill eyeing one another, but nothing really going to develop right now. But Nagel certainly went ahead and made his way towards the bench, or towards the pile. Gloves off, mask off, and everyone's just getting tossed. Probably the easiest thing right now for the referee to do is just throw everybody out of here with 1:52 to go. And the fans liking this. And now we got Milan trying to get after Donald. These two guys have been trying to get at each other for about 3 weeks now. And Milan and Donald will have to wait till tomorrow. Donald mocking Milan, saying, drop your gloves, bud.
As a result of all those actions, Florida's Dan Milan was suspended for a game and fined. His teammate, recently acquired Brett Henley, also incurred a fine. As with all such monetary penalties, under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement between the ECHL and the Players Association, player fines collected by the league are given to the association for its ECHL Players Hardship Fund. Coming up, our Western Conference featured game takes us to Colorado for some more of that pre-playoff intensity. And we'll have another one of our looks at a team new to the league this year. ECHL Week continues.
From opening night until the Kelly Cup is raised, watch every game of the 2012-13 ECHL season exclusively on AmericaOneSports.com. Catch the action live or on demand. Games available on your PC, Mac, or mobile device. The biggest goals, hardest hits, and spectacular saves all season long can be found only at AmericaOneSports.com, the official broadband broadcaster to the ECHL.
Both the Utah Grizzlies and Colorado Eagles are working toward wrapping up Western Conference playoff spots. And they seem to be very serious about it, especially during this recent meeting at the Budweiser Events Center. Kevin McGlue and Ryan Bach provide the description for us on 107.9 The Bear.
Escalate. Set in front. Stolen away. Canisto. Here he comes. Clean break. Ray Canisto in front. Shot. Scores! Ray K-47. 1-0 Colorado. 13:55 left in the first.
Well, there's a big lift that Colorado needs and no better player to finish this number 24, Ray Canisto.
Galen Patterson with it, sends it up top. Martin goes rink wide. Slam it down in the right wing corner. Tommy Maxwell threads it back, intercepted by Rush. Now he'll battle for it along the end wall. Drug free by the Grizzlies. In front, Patterson, shot, scores. Well, that puck just came loose. Patterson found a little room for himself, and he beats Kyle Jones along the ice surface. Power play goal for the Grizzlies. Ties it up at 1. Drop of the gloves, Jason Beatty and TJ Batani right at center ice. They put the Dukes up, both wearing number 20 on their backs. Batani tries to throw a right hand. That does not connect. Beatty latching on. Batani misses with another right. Now throws a big right, misses. Beatty chops away at Batani. Now an uppercut, a big right by Beatty. Oh boy, a big right by Jason Beatty. That'll floor Batani, who's still being held up by Beatty's left hand. Batani misses with an uppercut. Jason Beatty drags him over, tries to throw a right, now dumps him to the ice. Well, Colorado hoping to do what Utah did, and that kill off a 5-on-3. Tuzzolino off the faceoff win, near side has to Clay. Up top, Tuzzolino, he's got a bomb. Sends it over wide side. Martin with it down low. Balk flashing around back upstairs. Tuzzolino one-time scores. And Utah grabs their first lead of the game. 2-1 Grizzlies, 7:13 left in the second on a 5-on-3 power play goal. Schultz in after it. Sprung free by the Eagles. Beatty will play it back in behind his netminder. Takes a shot. Tommy Lang sends it wide side. The penalty coming up here on Schultz. Rush goes after him, cross-checks him, and that's going to cancel out that power play as Tommy Lang hobbled on the ice. And he is slow to get up and having trouble putting much weight on that left knee as trainer Chris Porowski comes out on the ice, and obviously Eagles fans not happy. Still lots of time on the power play. 2 minutes on it. Bowman back into the offensive zone. Sends it over. 40 shot. Score! Michael 40 and Rister with 12 seconds left in the second period. Ties it at 2. And it's Michael 40's 25th goal of the season. Colorado's tied, and they stay on the power play for another minute 54. Brought back in. It would have been an offsides call, so Balk has to circle his way back out to center. Gets decked by Smeltzer. He is down. And here comes Maxwell going after Smeltzer. Smeltzer will pop up, go after Maxwell. Linesman coming to separate those two parties. Balk is down on the ice, still face first. So the question now is, will this be a 5-on-3 power play, or will Tommy Maxwell get something here? Maxwell and Smeltzer both in the penalty box, but we'll see for how long those two respective parties will be. Balk is up to his knees. The athletic trainer for the Grizzlies out there. Boy, Balk, I don't know if he knows what day of the week it is. He got his bell rung. In after it. Run into by Canisto. Dropped off. Hood with it. Trying to play it free. Penalty coming up. Canisto banging away. Big left hand. Canisto chopping away on Galen Patterson in the corner. And they'll spill down to the ice. 45 seconds left. There was a penalty coming up here. And I think they might go matching now. We shall see. Carries it along the blue line. Send it over near side wall. Back from Martin in the high slot. Send it over for Tuzzolino. Back from Martin one time. Stick broke. Sent wide. Bidwell with it. Colorado has a chance at numbers if they hustle. And boy, they're still away. Tuzzolino down low. Shot. Scores. It looked as if that may have been offsides. Ryan Bach, but it is not. And a power play goal.
Goaltender Philip Grubauer has become the 502nd former ECHL player to make it to the National Hockey League when he came on in relief of Braden Holtby in Washington's 4-1 loss to Philadelphia on February 27th. He stopped all 14 shots he faced during the second half of the game. Grubauer, who's still among the ECHL leaders in several categories, is the 23rd former Reading player to make it to the NHL, but just the 7th to play with both the Royals and an NHL team in the same season. The 21-year-old native of Rosenheim, Germany, spent 2011-12 with the South Carolina Stingrays. In moments, we talk with a man who's been announcing hockey games for 60 years. And our Eastern Conference featured game. It's a battle in the tightly packed South Division. Still ahead on ECHL Week. In our last show, we aired the first part of an interview with longtime Fort Wayne Comets announcer Bob Chase, who's now in his 60th year of broadcasting the team's games. In 2012, he was given a particularly prestigious award. As we continue our interview today, Bob starts by talking about the phone call he received while he was driving from Alabama to Indiana from NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. That phone call informed Chase that he had been recognized by the NHL and USA Hockey with the Lester Patrick Trophy for contributions to hockey in the United States.
Well, you know, I-65 doesn't have many turnouts on it, and there weren't any rest areas at the time. And once I composed myself, I was okay, but I had to stay in the traffic. And when I hung up, I was still pretty speechless, and I kept looking at Murph, my wife, and I kept going, wow. And about every 10 minutes, I'd look and I'd go, wow. I mean, this was so surreal. And all the way home, that really inspired me. And the time flew by so fast, it was unbelievable. And I don't care how you cut it, it's 10 hours of driving. But my mind was just going like crazy. And then I got further notification and, you know, emailed information and letters regarding the date, the incident, and the whole thing. And once I got to Dallas and got in the hotel, I knew it was real then, because when I walked in the door at the hotel in Dallas, up on a big column, and in a huge relief, was my face. And I'm going, wow. And that's what I did. And it was so wonderful, because Dick Patrick is an incredible guy to start with. And the Hall of Fame inductees, I had known Lou Lamoriello from some years back when I did a series for Armed Forces Television with the U.S. Select Hockey Club against Spartak. That was a long time ago. He vaguely remembered it, and that was when Chris Terreri was goaltending for Lou over in Providence. So on the evening of the event, when he got up to accept and give his little acceptance speech, he looked down, and we were at one of the first tables, and he says, you know, Bob, I feel as though I know you, but we haven't had that much personal relationship. But he said, having worked for 21 years with Doc Emmerich, who was my friend, he said, I think I know who you are. And away he goes. About 3 weeks after the ceremony, I get a note from Lou, personal note from Lou from the Devils, thanking me for being a part of his celebration and saying what an inspiration I was, and everything that Mike Emmerich had said was true. I mean, wow. Wow is the first word that comes out, you know. And Mike and I started Mike in the business when he was 14 years old. And to see this guy rise to the heights he's risen to and still be as humble and as wonderful as he was when he was a kid, what a life I've had.
I think it was well documented that earlier this season you did a game with Mike in the broadcast booth with you. Summarize your feelings about that and what the process was like there, having him sitting next to you and talking about hockey during a game.
Well, you know, years ago I had him on the air when he was a kid, and we'd talk a little bit. So Mike came to town. Fortunately, he was unemployed. So we had lunch, and Mike says, you got anything planned? And I said, no, not really. He says, well, you know, what do you think? I said, Mike, I don't think we really have to plan anything. I think it's just going to fall into place. And he says, yeah, I agree. And of course, my color man is an old goaltender out of the Ranger system, Robbie Irons. So Robbie got up there and he says, oh, you guys don't need me tonight. And I said, no, Robbie, you're in the middle of this thing and you're staying. Well, what do you want me to do? I said, just what you always do. You know, chip in and do the thing. Here's the extra microphone. So Mike and I set it up that he and I would do first period play. I would do the play-by-play and he would do the color. Second period, Mike and Robbie did it, with Mike doing the color, and Robbie just had a ball. And then all three of us joined in the melee in the third period, and people who heard it said it was just a complete riot. They had a wonderful time. And Robbie Irons was so humbled at the end of the game, he had tears in his eyes. It was an incredible experience.
Bob Chase has a few more good stories to tell, and we'll get to hear them on a future ECHL Week program. We occasionally take a look at new teams in the league for those who might be new to ECHL Week or the league in general. This time, we take a brief glimpse at the San Francisco Bulls. The Bulls, who started play in October, are the first hockey team to represent San Francisco since the International League's Spiders in 1996. The team calls the Cow Palace home, and although that arena opened in 1941, the Bulls made a considerable investment in the building prior to moving in, including a new ice plant, audio system, and custom-built video board. Pat Curcio is the team's president, general manager, and coach, and he's no stranger to the ECHL. He played with Dayton, Charlotte, and Huntsville during the 1993-94 season, and he also was an assistant coach for the Utah Grizzlies a few years back. One of the highlights for the team in its debut season was a home game played at the HP Pavilion in San Jose, home of the NHL affiliate Sharks. Nearly 13,000 fans showed up for that match against Stockton. There's also good news for the Bulls nearing the end of their first regular season. With a month to go, they're in position to qualify for the Kelly Cup playoffs. Up next, the Stingrays and Road Warriors battle in our featured game from the East. And it's not a race for the playoffs, it's just for bragging rights. That's ahead on ECHL Week.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
So many reasons to be a fan, so many ways to show it. Customize your own at shop.nhl.com.
Starting the first full week of March, the top 4 teams in the South Division are separated by just 5 points. It's very possible that all 4 of those teams will qualify for the Kelly Cup playoffs. But if they make it, where they'll be seated is anybody's guess. Here are 2 of those teams, South Carolina and Greenville, battling it out in an attempt to better their positions in the standings. Handling the announcing duties for us is Road Warriors broadcaster Andy Zilch.
Again. Puck finds its way to Scooter Vaughn. He'll backpedal in his own zone. Play it over to the far side of the ice. Knocked into the zone by Courtnall. A lot of speed. A shot hits off the post. Rebound is in. Corner battling. It's digged out to the far point. Marcoux will feed it near side for Johnston. Back to Marcoux straight in. Far wing Conley. A quick drive and it gets blocked. Goes off the side of the net. And a clearing attempt from the Stingrays is kept in by Johnston. He'll slide it to Marcoux. Fakes a slap shot. One-timer. Conley and a goal! Conley rings it far down. Warriors tie it up. The South Carolina Stingrays get the power play, and the face-off is won by South Carolina. Hayes on the far wing. He'll cycle it down low for Tyler Johnson. He's put up against the boards by Delisle. Now a pass out to the point. Quick shot by Foam, redirected, and it's shot in. A rebound opportunity is knocked in by Tyler Johnson, and the Road Warriors return back to a deficit. It's 2-1 in favor of the South Carolina Stingrays. Foam will touch. It's broken up by the Road Warriors. Now a shot that rolls off Jakaitis and it goes in. The light rings up. The referee points as a goal, and the Road Warriors tie it up. The poke rolled down Jakaitis, and Jordy Johnston credited with the goal. The referee getting an earful from the Stingrays. And this play will be considered by the two linesmen and the referee. And tonight, Brennan Conley has powered the Road Warriors for 2 goals. And a quick shot off the face-off wide of the net. Marcoux gets it far point. He'll play it off the glass for Flanagan. One-touch pass for Johnston. Backhand to Conley. Shot. Goal! Conley with a hat trick. Throw those hats! Brennan Conley brings the Road Warriors up with his 3rd hat trick of the year. It's 3-2. Greenville on top. Conley takes the face-off. What a win behind the Road Warriors. Net taken by the Road Warriors defenseman Lee Bowman. He'll play it off the glass, and that will do it. The Road Warriors go back to 2nd place in the South Division, just 1 point behind the Gwinnett Gladiators.
For a few years, the Colorado Eagles have sponsored an annual diaper derby. But this year, it was time for the toddlers to take over. So for those of you who enjoy the fast-paced, exciting prospect of seeing 2-year-olds racing, let's go to the video. The winner of the race was Trevor Haddon, who edged out his older twin brother Mason and made his dad, Eagles forward Steve Haddon, very proud. We're told that everyone had a real good time. That wraps up another week in North America's premier AA Hockey League. Hope you enjoyed it and join us again next time. Until then, make it a good week. Make it an ECHL week.